We have nobody in this country vaccinated for coronavirus right now. So that if it goes through the...
But the same vaccine could not work. You take a solid flu vaccine, you don't think that would have an impact or much of an impact on corona?
No.
Probably none.
Probably not.
So
There's no reason to panic at all. Since the early stages of the foreign outbreak, my administration has taken the most aggressive action in modern history to confront the spread of this disease. We moved very early. That was one of the decisions we made that really turned out to be a lifesaver in a sense, big lifesaver. And I want to say that China seems to be making tremendous progress. Their numbers are way down, and their numbers are way down. On Monday, I'll be meeting with the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Actually, they'll be coming to the White House. So Daniel, let's talk
We're
about
using that same antiviral experience that Gilead has had decades to now to apply it to coronavirus. So we have a medicine called remdesivir, which is like a decade-long development that's an antiviral used to treat coronaviruses, the same viruses that the same family of SARS and MERS, and we're hoping it has effect now against COVID-19. So we know in vitro that it has very high effect.
So you have a medicine that's already involved with the coronaviruses,
Yes.
and now you have to see if it's specifically for this. When
Right.
you can know that tomorrow,
So
can't you?
we now the critical thing is to do clinical trials, and we're in the process. We have 2 clinical trials going on in China that were started several weeks ago. They're 400 patient trials each. They're getting close to halfway enrolled. They're enrolling very quickly.
Here?
Well, we don't know because they're double-blind, randomized trials, so we have to wait till the conclusion. We're trying to understand, as we all are with the epidemiology of this disease, where and when is the best place to treat.
It's very
so
exciting. Get it
it's
done,
exciting.
Daniel.
We're on it.
Don't disappoint us, Daniel. You understand that? Took it over the next few months. You think you could have a vaccine?
Correct. With phase 2.
Yeah.
With phase 2.
Yeah.
We won't have a vaccine. We'll have a vaccine to go into testing.
Phase 2. Yes.
And how long would that take?
The phase 2 will take a few months before we can go into phase 3.
Oh, so you're talking within
About a year, like I've been telling you.
Yeah. Well,
A year to
but
year.
Lenny is talking about 2 months, right? Lenny is talking about 2 months, right?
And we will be there in June. We will be there in June for phase
In a couple of months. I mean, I like the sound of a couple of months better. I must be honest.
But when you say June, phase 1 initiation though, right? In June?
Yeah.
Not a completed vaccine.
Well,
This is-
well, if you have a vaccine that would be ready for testing in phase 1.
But
Ready to use, yes. Ready to use when, would you say? Ready to use?
I think.
For next season?
So assuming that the vaccine is well tolerated and safe and efficacious, as John said, then I think the question is how do we work with the FDA to expedite that as fast as possible through some sort of fast track program to get it through phase 2 and 3 testing to get to
quick.
so as quickly as possible.
What do you say to that, Lenny?
look, I sense the cautiousness of Dr. Fauci, and he's right to be cautious because vaccines have to be tested because there's precedent for vaccines to actually make diseases worse. And you really don't want to make it, you don't want to rush and treat 1 million people and find out you're making 900,000 of them worse.
Good idea.
So that's why I think why Dr. Fauci is being a little bit cautious. I don't want to speak for him, but
Closely connected with,
Incredible.
I mean,
HIV, incredible.
to be able to prevent and treat this disease is just
So
extraordinary.
we're saying 10 years, but now we're into 9 years because it could have been started earlier and somebody else didn't start it early, but we started it right away. And I'm now saying, I started off saying 10 years, now I'm down to 9 years. Do you think by the end of 9 years, HIV is where?
I hope we get eliminated in the developed
Can
world.
you
I mean,
imagine? We'll be eliminated in this.
because
You
we have,
did use the word hoax. Couldn't that cause some people to not take the precautionary steps because they're linking what you're saying when you use the word hoax in the context of coronavirus?
Okay, so again, the hoax was used with respect to Democrats and what they were saying. It was a hoax, what they were saying, and that was very clear if you'd read the words, and I think you know that too. But we're doing really well, very, very professionally handled. Our country is prepared for any circumstance. We hope it's not going to be a major circumstance. It'll be a smaller circumstance, but whatever the circumstances, we're prepared.
Our plan is to start the US-based clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccine in April of this year, followed by shortly thereafter a trial in China and South Korea. There are a lot more infections in those areas.
We can give you an area too.
No, we can. I mean, you take a look at Seattle again. We can give you an area. So, if you don't mind.
We've been collaborating with U.S. agencies like DARPA, NIH. We collaborated with Dr. Birx in HIV vaccines and many years ago. With existing resources and capacity.
Tremendous amounts of supplies are already on hand.
Empty shelves greeted Costco customers trying to buy toilet paper, bottled water, disinfectant wipes, and rice. All gone.
Media, would you like to ask any questions of any of the geniuses around?
What economic stimulus measures are you considering to boost the economy as a result of the virus?
Well, I guess the market's up today. Our country is very strong economically, as you know. But I think we're in very strong shape financially. And you know, I have to tell you, what would the public think when you have so many, and that's taken routinely, and I was shocked to hear this, 3-4 weeks ago I said, well, how many people die a year from the flu? And in this country, I think last year was 36,000 or 37,000 people, and I'm saying, wow, nobody knew that information. Worldwide, you just multiply that times the world, right? I've heard very quick numbers, a matter of months, and I've heard pretty much a year would be an outside number. So I think that's not a bad range. But if you're talking about 3 to 4 months in a couple of cases and a year in other cases, wouldn't you say, Doctor? Would that be about right?
Is it realistic to think really that a vaccine?
Well, you have the greatest companies in the world sitting around the table. I mean, Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer and all of the companies, Gilead. You have all of these great companies, and that's what they're saying. So I think that
You make sure you get the president the information that a vaccine that you make and start testing in a year is not a vaccine that's deployable. So he's asking the question, when is it going to be deployable? And that is going to be at the earliest a year to a year and a half, no matter how fast you go.
you think that's right?
And as you said, because treatment should be available before the vaccine, so that's why you
Well,
have
I think treatment in many ways might be more exciting. Okay.
That's what I think. Ambassador Birx, I think, laid out a really nice framework as we think about managing expectations, which is be thinking antiviral therapeutics, transitioning to monoclonal antibodies, and eventually to vaccines as we think about the continuum of research and development here. Is that fair for CEOs?
Well, I think, Tony, I think that's interesting because the concept of treatment in a certain way, especially when you have people that are, looking for treatment, they're beyond the vaccine stage. That would be very exciting.
And it always goes faster than vaccine because you're dealing with someone who's already sick. So the safety issues are going to be much different. And you will know your result almost immediately. Whereas with vaccines, it takes a little.
So then, what would be your timing for treatment? Therapeutics, commonly known as, but I call it treatment. What would be your number
For us, we can think about producing 20,000 doses by the end of the summer of a course of treatment. And as Dr. Fauci said, you're going to find out very quickly. It's not going to be a mystery whether these things work or not. We're pretty confident that ours is the monoclonal antibody approach. We think that approach has a very high probability in the near term of delivery. So
treatment, just for the media, so the treatment element of it goes faster than the vaccine element of it, which, in my opinion, in this case, would be better. Go ahead, please.
The remdesivir, our medicine, is in phase 3 trials right now. And these trials are conducted very fast. We're talking about 30-day endpoints.
yes.
So you recruit them, in 30 days, once you recruit, whether it works or not. Thankfully, so far, the drug seems to be very safe. What we have to determine is its level of efficacy, its clinical effectiveness. And that, as I said, we'll know potentially as early as
as a treatment. Somebody is sick, they have the problem, Tony. It could be used. When do you think it could be used?
Well, if the trial that Daniel was talking about proves efficacy, which you likely might know in a few months whether it's effective or not.
Yes.
If you know by June that it's effective, then you just scale up and manufacture it and you're good to go.
How good is that?
We're scaling.
Hear that, Jeff? That's good even by your
Well,
standpoint, Jeff.
let me give you an example, for instance, with the Regeneron product with Ebola. So Tony Fauci and his team and the World Health Organization ran a historic 4-arm clinical trial in the war zone in eastern Congo. And 2 of the products, one of them developed by NIAID, one of them developed by Regeneron, proved so effective that the ethical board said stop on the other 2. I'm sorry, Dan. One of them was yours.
One of them was
said,
the one that didn't work here.
they said, and start treating. And when I went to the Congo, I got to see people that even before.
Said one of the ones that didn't work here. They said, and start treating. And when I went to the Congo, I got to see people that even before FDA approval are being treated.
You know, in a certain way, this can bring the world closer. If you want to know, it can really do that. And this too will end.
Are there